Hi guys and welcome back to Arsenal Army. So we are out of the Champions League for this year. I'm going to try not to be too negative in this video. We'll look at the positives. Firstly, we didn't get battered or humiliated like past Arsenal teams have done in that stadium. It shows that we're now competing at a better level and that we actually have a chance of progressing. Secondly, Man City are out as well, meaning if Tottenham finish fifth, I don't believe they'll be getting Champions League, so there's always a positive to laugh at Tottenham. The negatives, of course, were out. We didn't play the best football I've seen. A bit lackluster in the second half, but I'm going to be going through the Arsenal team's player ratings and talking about Arteta's choices and even the aspect of Kroenke, the two Kroenkes going to watch the game. Starting from the back with Raya, didn't have much to do in the game, to be honest with you. To me, could have done a little bit better with the cross going in before the goal that led up to the goal. The problem is, if he was a bit taller, he could have got there and caught it. Knowing his height, it's a disadvantage in his game, but to be honest, not much wrong with him. I'll give him a 5. The two centre backs, again, dealt with Kane really well. Didn't really put a foot wrong, to be honest with you. I would have thought coming into this game that they would be nervy and even make a few mistakes, but they look solid. Didn't really do anything too badly, but didn't get the clean sheet, obviously, so I'll give them 2 6s. We're starting with Tomiyasu at left back. He came in after having not that many minutes recently. Zinchenko obviously had the game against Aston Villa, didn't look great, and Kiwior had the game, the first leg against Bayern Munich, and again looked shaky. So he came into this game. He looked good defensively, dealt with Sane well. Obviously, Sane had his moments getting past him, but that's expected. He's a world-class winger. Attackingly, he inverted a lot in the first half. In the second half, you saw him stick to his bar line quite a bit. We didn't have the ball as much, so defensively done well. Attackingly, I don't reckon he could have done anything better. It's not really his game to play attacking football. We know that. But again, I think he done okay. Ben White had a solid game. Started the game really in a back three on the right side. Then went to the bar line more. I would have liked to see him support Saka a little bit more down that right hand side. Maybe give Saka a little bit more space. But everything defensively he was asked to do, he done. Attackingly, there was maybe a bit more to be desired. In the midfield, Jorginho. He had a decent first half, I would say. After the first 15 minutes, he grew into the game really well, controlled the pace of the game. But the one negative I will say about him, he slowed the ball a bit too much. Sometimes the ball should have been released a little bit quicker, but he did have a decent game, so I'll give him a 6. Reiss had one good stint in the game where he looked like he was controlling the game. After that, he kind of faded out in the second half completely. Didn't really look like the Reiss we know. I think it was a little bit worse than Jorginho today, to be honest with you, so I'll give him a 5. And Ødegaard, our captain, he didn't see much of the ball to create at all. Normally, we associate him with the tricks and the flicks, but today didn't have the ball to do that. He ran a lot, to be honest with you, and we were worried about that little injury he had as well. So I'll give him a 5. Not really his fault that the team didn't create as many chances because he didn't get to see that ball to create them. Starting with Martinelli in the attack, should have scored and could have done better defending for Bayern Munich's goal. It's sad because I wanted to see him start this game and give Kimmich a hard time, which in parts in that first half he did do, but he didn't do it enough. And it's quite, again, sad for me to see because he's one of my favourite players. He excites me when he's at his best, and right now he's definitely not at his best, so yeah, 4. Saka didn't do anything in the game. He didn't really have the space to do much. Just don't get me wrong, it's not entirely his fault. No player was giving him the opportunity to have a little bit of space, no overlapping runs by White. But again, he didn't create the space that he should be. But again, don't get me wrong, Bayern Munich, when they're in the defensive shape, there's not much you can do. You can see when they're in that shape, it's very hard to break them down. And lastly, Havertz up front, didn't see much of the ball as well. Slightly better rating, getting a 5 from me because of his runs and his physicality, causing a bit of problem for Dyer. But yeah, didn't see the chances, so I can't complain about his finishing this time. A lot of people on Twitter saying that we now should be looking for a striker, and it's a definite thing. But after the game we've seen from Havertz, I wouldn't be crying too much about it. I mean, even a world-class striker in that game wouldn't have had the chances to finish them because we didn't create them. So it's maybe a thing to look at with a new winger or a midfielder in Jorginho's role, maybe, to create a few more chances for our strikers as well. Now on to the subs. I'll start with Nketiah, but I don't have a picture of him here. He didn't have any time to really impact the game, so I won't say too much on him. Jesus and Trossard came on still a little bit late, but they did have enough time, but didn't create anything. At that point, it looked like we were done, especially with the last 25 minutes to go. It didn't look like we were going to create a chance or even score. It looked like the game was done. I will say the team looks a bit tired as well. I don't know whether that's just me seeing it, but they do look like they were very, very leggy going into the end of that game. Mikel Arteta, I won't rate his choices because I don't think he actually made a bad choice with the lineup. I think he got most things right. But I will say I don't know where this leaves us, to be honest with you. Again, like I said at the start of the video, it is progression in the club because we haven't come here and lost 5-1 or got humiliated. But going into the end of this season, I can only see the boys maybe dropping their heads a little bit now. They've lost 2 very important games in a row. And although it shouldn't be this way, and if you relate to it, you know once you lose in life, your head drops a little bit. So the one thing I don't want to see is us going into the end of the season and losing all our momentum completely. At least try and challenge for that title until the last day. But yeah, and another important thing to acknowledge that the Cronkies, actually our owners, were actually there to watch the game, which I'm not really used to seeing as well. So I wonder what they're thinking. They've invested a lot of money into Arteta and into this team. And although, like I've said, we've progressed, we're still not where we need to be. So I wonder if they're thinking how much more money would they need to put into this team to get to that next level. I think we're a midfielder, a winger, and a striker away from being near that top level. But who knows? Next game we have Wolves in the league. We're hoping to bounce back in that game and at least give City something to think about during the end of the season. So I'll see you in the next one.